everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the SwitchBot. This is the K10 Plus Pro. SwitchBot is sponsoring today's video, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Be sure to check out my full review of the K10 Plus as well to see how it stacks up against the K10 Plus Pro. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. We have some product info on the side right here. We'll rotate it around for you to see SwitchBot's logo and branding and our factory seal up at the top. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have some product literature consisting of regulatory and safety information, as well as a full user guide and manual and a quick start guide. We also have a warranty info card and a customer service and contact card. Next, you'll find some extra accessories here. We have a filter for replacement. We have 2 side cleaning brushes. We have an extra vacuum bag here. We have a pack of wipes for mopping, 30 included in the pack here, with instructions for how to use and install the wipes on your vacuum. Next, we have the K10 Plus Pro right here. And we have the self-empty base. Let's look at both of those in more detail. Starting with the robot vac first, at the top we have the SwitchBot logo and branding on our LiDAR navigation module, 2 control buttons, a home button, and we have our power button. A removable magnetic cover revealing a power on and off switch here, and we have the dustbin. So this removes. There's our current filter already installed, and we can easily pop that out as needed when it's time to replace, just like so. And we got that mesh screen that goes on the inside right there. And then we just line it back up and snap it back in place. We have a push option here, so we can open up the whole dustbin to empty out and clean out as needed. And then we have our chute out the back for it to self-empty. Pretty neat. There's a look at the unit with it removed on the back side there. And then we can just gently install it back in place. It just slides right in, and we can pop that cover right back on. Looking at it from the front here, we have additional sensors to help it with navigation and object avoidance. We have our bumper right there too. SwitchBot Silent Tech on the side right there. Here's a look at the back of our dustbin with charging contacts. Here's a look at the other side, wall detection right there built in. Now we can flip it over underneath. Spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel. This is where we're going to install the included side brush, cliff sensors, and we have our main brush roller right here with that all rubber design. That'll help aid with this being less tangle friendly. Hopefully will help cut down on some of the tangles you can expect with a typical RoboVac that might have a hybrid rubber and bristle design. Now let's go ahead, let's look at the self-empty base. Starting with the top of our base, we got the SwitchBot logo and branding and a lid that we can open up to reveal the already installed dust bag. And we have a multi-purpose detangling and cleaning tool right here built in. Super convenient storage. You might notice up at the top, hopefully you do, that we have our mopping module here that we just add the cleaning wipes to. So we can use that with some instructions to make sure you have everything set up properly. You can see that right there and right there. And that stores very conveniently on the base itself. They also have instructions for self-empty here. But basically, once your bag's full, you just pull this up and out of the way, and then you take your new bag and repeat in reverse order, and then just gently slide it down. And there you go. Everything is now installed. Let's give you the side profile, other side profile. Here's a look at the back with built-in cable management and storage. And here's a look underneath at the base. We do have our vacuum channel here that's clear and see-through. See my fingers in there? So we can identify easily if anything's clogging up this channel here. And just a Phillips head screwdriver to remove a couple of screws here, and you'll be able to clean that as needed. And now we'll look at it from the very front here. So everything looks great. Charging contacts, vacuum chute, some sensors, small and compact. Now let's go ahead, let's get everything set up. Set up simple and straightforward. We just really only have to install the side cleaning brush. So it's got a square connector right there. Just line it up and just gently press it in place. And there we go, we have the side cleaning brush installed. While we're getting it set up, let me take some time to show you how to install the included mopping cloths. You can follow the instructions on here, but basically the cloths will have 2 cutouts here. And that's gonna be for these 2 clips. So we're gonna put those up and underneath just like so. We'll fold that over, and then we'll fold this side up, put it under this clip right here, just like so. We can pull that pretty snug, and then we're gonna loop it back on itself right there and repeat the same thing on the other side. So we can basically stretch, pull it under, get it nice and snug, and then we can fold it on itself. And there we go. The mop cloth is completely covering the back of the plastic there. And now we can install that onto the vacuum itself. These 2 prongs, again, they're gonna go right there. And then these bottom 2 circles will attach right there. So just line it up, make sure you have it where it needs to be, and then it just clips right in place just like that. So now we have the mopping module all set and ready to go to mop our floors. I'm not sure without being here in person if you can really grasp the size difference of our K10 versus your typical robot vacuum cleaner. So we have it side by side with SwitchBot's very own S10, which is one of the largest RoboVacs we've ever seen from just an overall footprint for width and height. But we also have a more typical RoboVac here with the iRobot Roomba. This is their J series vacuum. And take a look. I mean, it is substantial. So looking at that versus the S10, just a night and day difference here in size. Pretty spectacular, right? I mean, look at that. Mama and a baby. And then even with the Roomba.
Please put me back on the floor.
Same thing with the Roomba. I mean, night and day difference here. Pretty unbelievable what they've been able to shrink down into this small form factor. Now let's charge it up and try it out. All right, we just got our first clean out of the way. Let's take a look at the real world results. This is disgusting. Here's our wipe on our mopping module here. Super gross. We have a lot of larger contents and just debris that it was able to wipe up off the floor. Seriously, I've never seen one look this bad, so I'm super embarrassed. But there you go. I had it mop under the table, and you can thank my kids for the blueberries and some of the other food particles on there that were on the floor. So I'm glad we had that go and wipe everything down, especially under the table where it's hard to reach. So there's a look realistically at what you could expect with your wipe as well when it's mopping on your floors. Now let's look at the vacuum. We'll flip it over. We'll start with the main brush roller. No tangles there. That's rather impressive because I have a long-haired dog and I have 2 daughters with long hair, and my wife has long hair as well. Let's pop it open. Okay, we do see a little bit of tangling here. That would be as expected. So it's gonna basically wind itself down off the main brush and go right there. So we will have to maintain that and keep an eye on both the corners, but not bad at all there. And then we have dirt and dust on the inside here. And I see that our dustbin is full because it's peeking out right there. We'll pop the cover off and we'll pop the dustbin out. Got a prompt even letting us know that it's been removed. So let me see if I don't make a huge mess here. We'll look at the contents. We'll open it up. And here we go. Look at that. Tons of dog hair and human hair. Super disgusting. We got finer dirt, dust, and debris and crumbs at the bottom. So you can see what's still left down in there in the dustbin. Some grass, some fur. A lot of crumbs. And then here's everything that we emptied out. Now, again, I'm manually emptying this because I intercepted it from the self-empty. This would all empty itself automatically out of there. But I wanted you guys to see what it's actually picking up. So really fine dirt and dust, crumbs, rocks, grass, mulch, sticks, food, hair. You get the idea. Now, let me give you a brief overview of the SwitchBot app for our K10 Plus Pro. Here's a look at the main overview where we have 3 different tabs at the top: room, whole house, and area cleaning. You can pick and choose multiple areas and configure this as needed. Everything on this map is drag and drop depending on what you're trying to accomplish cleaning wise. But whole house, area, or room, you have the flexibility right here. And from these screens, you'll notice we have some additional icons. How many times do you want it to vacuum the whole house? 1 or 2 times? Do you want to save the room divisions? Do you want to add any particular no-go zones, no mop zones, virtual walls and barriers? All of that can be accomplished right there. Again, drag and drop, resize as needed. We can choose to manually empty the dustbin right now. That's the green icon at the center left side of your screen. Below that, we can pick and choose vacuum or mop mode. It's smart enough if you put the mop pad on, it will trigger that automatically. And we look at the whole room option for cleaning. We can actually clean in a particular order, or it can do a smart cleaning option. So very capable from a cleaning standpoint. And then further down, we have additional information. We can send it home to recharge. We can activate a clean. We can adjust the suction settings from quiet all the way to max. And then we have a more option here where we can edit and review our maps. So this does support multi-level mapping, and you can delete or edit a map as needed. Here's the map editing, so we can rename, merge areas, split areas, or redivide rooms. You can also rotate the map. Don't forget on the main screen back here, this is where we set up the virtual walls and barriers. Then we have a scheduling option. We can set a schedule and forget about it. We can view a detailed cleaning history and report. We have a voice package, so you can see the different language options we have here. We have a remote control. You can manually drive it if you want. Then we can locate the vacuum. I'm here. It says, I'm here. So we can do that. And then we have accessory usage. This will give us a breakdown of each individual part and component and when it's time to replace, wipe down, etc. And then in the top right-hand corner, we have our settings gear icon. This takes us to additional options. First up is vacuum mode. We can toggle on or off auto resume cleaning as well as reduced collision mode. Then moving along, do not disturb. We can adjust the volume of our vacuum. We have dust collection settings. This is great because of the smaller size. We have a smaller dustbin, but we can choose how long it takes to empty the dustbin, 10 to 25 seconds, and the frequency, light, regular, or enhanced. Again, if you have a dirty house and you're using this smaller vacuum, you'll want to do regular or enhanced. You'll want it to empty every 60 or 75 minutes, but you have the option for 90 minutes as well. So it's great that we have those dust collection options. I love to see it. We can turn the button light on or off, as well as child lock. And then everything else is basically device specific to restart, reconnect. We can update it and delete the device from our settings there. So very capable and detailed app that's easy to navigate. So how does this stack up against the competition? We'll be comparing it to SwitchBot's very own K10 Plus that we've tested, as well as the overall average of your typical robot vacuum cleaner. We personally tested over 60 robot vacuum cleaners. It's actually probably closer to 70 by now, and that keeps growing weekly. So we're excited to get that to 100 and continue to refine our data. But we'll be looking at it through the lens of compared to its younger brother, as well as the overall average robot vacuum. So first up, max suction power. This is measured in PAs, 3,000 PAs of suction power with this unit. That's 500 PAs more than the K10 Plus. And both are going to be substantially below average. The average comes in around 5,100 PAs. So we're 2 or 2,500 PAs below average. That leads us directly to our next metric, which is max CFM. Just like suction power, usually the higher the better. You want to see larger results in values here to help equate. Doesn't always mean, but it helps us get a better feel for how it's going to actually perform in the real world. But you'll see here in a second why that's not always the case. So 3.9 CFM we got for our K10 Plus Pro, which is actually below the K10 Plus of 4.3. That could be within a margin of error, but it also could have to do with the redesigned rubber brush roller. I'm not really sure, but it's interesting to point out nonetheless. We have greater suction power, but in our testing for CFM and that airflow, we actually record a little bit less. But just like suction power, both are going to be below your average. But the good news here in our carpet deep cleaning test, it did not matter. Both of these units do exceptionally well. I'm always blown away that they're able to perform so well on carpets. They're small but mighty. So 95 out of 100, 10 points above the average, and even with that 500 PA boost of suction power and redesigned brush, we're not seeing any noticeable difference in performance. It was already good enough on the K10 Plus. Now it's the same, technically spec-wise, it's better on the K10 Plus Pro, but realistically, you might not notice much of a difference. Where you will notice a difference is max decibels. With that increased suction power, this unit is going to be a little bit louder. It peaks at 73 decibels compared to 70 decibels for the K10 Plus and our average of 71 for your typical robot vacuum cleaner. None of these are really going to be any louder than the other. If you were in the room listening to your average RoboVac versus any of the K10 models vacuuming together, you would be hard pressed to tell the difference. They're all just going to sound like a vacuum running in your room. Now, what's unique to the SwitchBot K10 Plus is what they call Silotech technology. So in decibels, these units can get as low as 45 decibels, running nice and quiet for you while they're vacuuming. In regards to battery life, although this vacuum is small, they really get the most out of its form factor. We still have a 150-minute runtime on this unit. That's only 10 minutes below the average. And why you're seeing that slightly lower runtime probably has to do with the battery capacity, 3,200 milliamp hours compared to your average of 39. But again, same theme here, small but mighty, and they really get a lot out of a little. Speaking of a little, the height on this vacuum is 3.6 inches. That's right at the average, but it's actually below average because most of your LiDAR equipped vacuums will be in that 3.9 4-inch range. This unit is one of the smallest LiDAR vacuums out there. You will see that average height be even lower than 3.6 inches for vacuums that don't have LiDAR navigation. They usually come in closer to 3 inches. And why that matters is you might have low pieces of furniture, so the shorter the vacuum is with its height, the more effective its cleaning reach will be. But I would argue I'd much rather have LiDAR navigation and my vacuum be a little bit taller than not having LiDAR navigation to have a subpar experience cleaning and mapping. Next up, we have our bin capacity measured in milliliters, 200 milliliter bin capacity. Again, at the end of the day, there has to be some compromises for a unit this small, and this is a great one to compromise on because it's a self self-emptying vacuum. You tend to find larger dustbins on vacuums that don't support self-empty to limit the amount of times you have to go and manually empty the vacuum. In this case, you can configure it within the mobile app to go back, I think, like every 60, 75, or 90 minutes to empty itself. So it really is a moot point and doesn't matter with this particular model. Next up, we have our position sensitivity detector. This is a unique feature found on the K10 Plus Pro that isn't found on the regular K10 Plus. Basically, they updated the sensor suite, so now it does a better job navigating in corners and around things like table legs, giving you a better edge clean. All of that's refined with this unit that's not found on the other model. I think it's gonna have to do with the wall detection sensor on the side. If you look at that compared to the regular K10 Plus, they have mixed up and changed up that sensor suite. So I think that's how they're using it to refine its navigation that you don't see on the previous model. Last but not least, let's talk about cost. So I was pleasantly surprised at the time of this video that there really is hardly any difference between the K10 Plus and the K10 Plus Pro in regards to how much they cost. It's a matter of about $20 to get this vacuum versus the other one. Both are going to be substantially below your typical average robot vacuum cleaner, and I think it's safe to say from the performance that you've seen in our results, we're at, near, or above the average, but we're below average where it counts, which is with your wallet. So let me share with you my final thoughts in regards to our SwitchBot K10 Plus Pro. Small but mighty is the theme for this vacuum cleaner. Overall, it's very capable. I love the size. Think about people in smaller houses, apartments, townhomes, things like that, that you want a robot vac, but you don't need this huge, massive system. Maybe for some reason you want to use it and store it, get into that routine, whatever it may be. You would appreciate something this small and compact where you're not compromising on navigation, cleaning experience, or anything like that. I wish it could support full mopping. I think that would be unbelievable. If they could ever shrink down their main units to this form factor and give us mopping, washing, drying, all of that, that would be unbelievable. It's already quite the feat of technology, in my opinion, to make something this small, but I'm excited for the future of this product. So this basically tangles less than the regular K10 Plus, and you get refined navigation for corners, tables, chair legs, edges, things like that. That's going to be where this unit's going to excel. Its biggest shortcomings are having just a mopping wipe. It's better than nothing, and it's still fairly effective. But again, they dry out easy, and it's just not as convenient as having one that washes, dries, and refills itself. And object recognition, I'd love to see this refined more. I think they might have to have some hardware updates as well, not just via firmware and software updates in the future, but it's definitely below average in object recognition. I thought for sure we would see a better boost and improvement in that over the K10 Plus, but it's really not any different or distinguishable. It's more so the refinement of the navigation, like we said earlier, of corners, table legs, things like that, going around objects versus actually sensing and avoiding them.